Okay, either my last or my second to last video on Punisher, One Last Kill. I'm going to be ranking the seasons of Punisher 1 and 2. I'm going to be ranking the special presentation. I'm going to be ranking the 3 movies, the one with Dolph Lundgren, the one with Ray Stevenson, and then the one with Thomas Jane. I'm going to be ranking the Dirty Laundry that also had Thomas Jane. And then I'm going to be ranking the Punisher, Black Widow, Avengers Confidential movie that was an anime movie that was a sequel to a anime Iron Man movie that stars Punisher and Black Widow. So we've got a good chunk of projects, but let's just get into it. In last place is going to be Punisher 1989. I don't know when it was released, but the Dolph Lundgren one. Now, with it being in last place, I still think this movie is really, really good. I think that it's a fun movie, and I think that Dolph Lundgren is really good as the Punisher. Obviously, he doesn't really do much emotional work with the Punisher, but I think as, like, a big, bad Punisher, like, just this guy who's, like, going through dudes, I think he does really good at. And it does suck that he doesn't have the skull, but at the same time, it works well enough where he has enough of the Punisherisms where it's like, yeah, that is the Punisher, even if he's missing the skull. The action is really fun. The story, I thought, was fun, and as a whole, like, the movie was just a nice 80s action movie, where, obviously, the one thing that does, like, drag it down a bit is, like, just, like, him not wearing the skull, which I guess you could call me a hypocrite with some of the other placements, but, even then, it's, like, in those, like, it has reasons and stuff, whereas in this, it's just, like, yeah, we're not gonna do that, and I don't really have much to say, because it's not, like, a deep movie, but, like, it is a good movie, so it's, like, even if this is in last place, like, the Punisher, I don't think has had any bad projects yet, and I don't think he will. Next is Punisher Warzone. This is the Punisher movie starring Ray Stevenson as Frank Castle, and I think that is probably my biggest dislike of the movie, is Ray Stevenson as Frank Castle. Not that I think he is, like, a horrible actor, because I do like him in other roles. I just don't think he fits Frank Castle. I just don't think he has the look. He, like, everyone else, like, just has, like, this rugged, like, military type look. And I just don't think Ray Stevenson really has that look. I don't, like, know how to explain it. Maybe it's the choice that they, like, slicked back his hair. And, like, would that be enough to be like, yeah, I don't see it. But I don't think it's that. I just think it's, like, his face and everything. Like, I just don't think it fits the Punisher. It's just, like, I don't know how to explain it. But I think the movie in and of itself is really good. I think that Jigsaw was a bit over the top, and his brother was just annoying. The action is really, really fun, though. I think that the story with Frank, where he accidentally kills an undercover cop, and then he kind of deals with that. Not like he's like, oh, I'm gonna stop being Punisher, because he's like, oh, no, I'm just gonna be that. But he's like, okay, I can see what costs there could be. Micro shows up in this, and ultimately what happens with him kind of sucks, but I think that his character was nice, and like, it's just a fun action movie. But, like, my biggest thing that I do not like about it is probably Ray Stevenson as Punisher. I just don't think he fits Punisher like the other actors do. Next is Punisher Dirty Laundry. This is like a 10-minute thing that you could find on YouTube. That is the Thomas Jane version of Punisher, where he's doing his laundry in this place, and then he just sees these, like, this gang of people kind of just not being nice to this, like, not being nice. He just sees this gang of people causing, like, trouble and violence and everything, and he's trying to, like, not do anything about it, and then he goes into the store, and I think it was Clancy Brown. No, it was the other guy. Was it Ron Perlman? It's one of those two. Is the bartender, and, like, they kind of have a conversation, and then he gets a Jack Daniels, and he goes out, and he just destroys these people. and like the action is really fun. For a 10-minute thing that probably didn't have like a big budget or anything, it's really fun, and it feels like comic book where it's just like, hey, here's a Punisher story for like 10 or so minutes. You watch it, you get out, doesn't waste your time, really fun, and like it's easy to watch. Like I would like to watch it again. But and I like the Thomas Jane version, even though he's not my favorite version of Frank. I really like his version. So even if it's not like a movie, like just like this little thing here, it's like here's a little bit more of his version. I like that. So it comes in here, but it being a 10-minute thing is like, yeah, it's not as good as like the stuff above it. Next is Punisher, Black Widow, Avengers Confidential. I'm not like the biggest anime guy, but I have seen like some of the superhero things I like. I like this. I think that the Iron Man movie that it's a sequel to is really good. Batman Ninja vs. Yakuza League, which is a Batman anime, I think is really good. And then Batman Ninja, which is the first Batman Ninja movie. I wasn't a biggest fan of that one, but so I really only watched like superhero anime, but I think that this one is really fun, where pairing Punisher and Black Widow up is like a cool pairing. I think that Nick Fury was really nice. The story, I think, is really good. You get a couple villains in here that I like, and then once you get towards the end, like Iron Man joins in, and Hulk, and then Captain Marvel and Thor. I would have to watch it again just to remember like exactly who shows up at the end, but you get like some of the Avengers showing up at the end, and I thought that was really cool. The action is extremely fun, and some of the anime stuff is like over the top that it's just really cool. Like some of it is just like this would never be able to happen in a live action movie, and that's why I like this. It's the only animated Punisher thing that we have got. Obviously he shows up in the Iron Man one, but he's not a main character, so that's not on this list. But like as a whole, I thought it was great, and I think that Marvel animation is pretty underrated, because from a good chunk of what I've seen, which I still have some that I do want to watch, but I think that Marvel animation is really good. And this is just a really nice movie. It's not the best thing. It's not trying to be. It's just a really, really good Punisher anime movie, starring Black Widow as well. In fourth is Punisher 2004, the Thomas Jane movie. I have seen this once. I would like to watch it again, which seems like it's with a couple of these. But Thomas Jane as Punisher is really good. Obviously, he's not my favorite. My favorite is John Bernthal, who we have yet to talk about. But I think that Thomas Jane does play a really good version of Frank. I think that this origin story of Frank is a pretty good one. John Travolta kind of sucks as the villain, but like I don't really like him as an actor, but I think like the villain is like one that you hate, so it's like, okay, I can buy into it. The fight with the Russian is really cool. The action in general is just fun, and the movie itself was just like a fun time. It was kind of weird that the Punisher skull that he wears is just a shirt. Like, it's not a bulletproof vest or anything. It's literally just a shirt. There was a plot point with, like, John Travolta's right-hand man that I wasn't a big fan of. And, like, it does take inspiration from the comic book Welcome Back, Frank, which I think was pretty cool. Like, obviously, it's not one-to-one, because this is the Punisher's origin story, and you don't get Manucci in this, but I think that, like, everything that they take from it is fun, and I just think that the movie as a whole is a really good one, and one that I would like to watch again, and the extended cut is probably the one to go with, even though I think the extended cut might have just been like an extra opening scene. I have no idea, but yeah, I liked it. Coming in at third is Punisher One Last Kill, the newest edition. It's 44 minutes, so it's not long, but it's my favorite version of the Punisher, and just everything that it brings to this character is just great. John Bernthal is my favorite version. I think that everything they do with his character is really nice. They have a couple cameos. The action that you get once it gets into the back a little bit is amazing. And just as a whole, like, and then it introduces the new cheese, like Foley. Obviously, they cameoed somewhat in Punisher Season 1, which we will get to. But besides, like, a little cameo, like, they didn't really show up until then. And you get the Punisher at the end, like, a little scene with him in the skull on, which was awesome. You get emotional moments, as I said. You kind of get Punisher set up for what his role is going to be in the MCU going forward. And then, again, the action, like, just him stuck in this building trying to get out. And then once he does get out, it's, like, just brutal and awesome, is just really great. And the only thing that makes it, like, not be above these first two, which are both seasons of the show, is because it's short. But even then, like, it's probably better than a good chunk of season 1. But we'll get to that, which is next. Season 1 is my second place, and the first time I tried watching it, I didn't get far into it. I got like 3 episodes, maybe 4, but it just wasn't my thing at the first time. And then I watched it again. I was just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. It's like, now it is my 4th favorite show ever. At the time, I was just like, this is just really good. Sorry for that little break. Something happened, but as I was saying, Punisher Season 1 is a season that I think is really good. It really dive deep into Frank's, like, psyche, and just, like, who the Punisher is, and everything with his family, I think, is good. I think that they handle, like, the PTSD and everything really well. Billy Russo in this season is pretty good. I like him a lot more in the second season, and in this season, like, I get what they're going for, but he's a little bit too pretty boy, where, like the whole time, like, he just makes this, like, the biggest thing ever, like, oh, I'm so good looking is crap. And I think they might have been a little bit too overboard with that one. Like, I get why they're doing it, because it's, like, it's Jigsaw, but even then, I don't fully get why they did that. Madani in this season is probably, definitely a lot worse than she was in the second season. I think in this season, like, there's just something about her that is kind of annoying. But I think that they improve on her greatly in the second season. And then I think that Curtis is pretty good in this one. Karen is in 3 episodes. And obviously it's cool seeing, like, a Daredevil character in it. And just, like, the season as a whole, like, is great. Micro, I like Micro as well. I think that his dynamic is really good with his family, and that leads me to another point. One of my favorite parts of the season is Frank's dynamic with Micro's family. I just really like that, and, like, their interactions and everything, and, like Micro's wife is the least interesting part of that. I do like Frank's interaction with, like, the kids, and, like, how like, you can see the son throughout the season is just spiraling and kind of taking his dad's death hard, and Frank ends up helping him with that. And then the daughter, I like how she kind of just trusts Frank right away. Like, she can see that he's a nice person. And then in the scene where she's on the run and Frank calls her, and he's just like, you need to go here, and I'll meet you and everything, and just, like, the way he talks, I really like that one. And then obviously that leads into her finding her dad. But I really like Frank's dynamic with the family in this season. And then once you get into the last little bit, and Frank gets the skull and then starts taking out dudes, it's just awesome. Like, the action is really fun. And then the final showdown between Frank and Billy in this season is really fun. I would say that the One Last Kill, the one shot, is probably better than a good chunk of this season, but as a whole, obviously it's a 13 episode season than, like, a 1 episode one shot. But I would say, like, as a whole, like, the one shot is probably better than a good chunk of this season, just because, like, I thought the one shot was awesome. But if we're going by, like, how would I rank them as a whole, this is probably over that. But my favorite Punisher project as of right now, and I don't know if that will change. But as of right now, it is Punisher season 2. I just think that this is awesome. It's a lot better than the first season for me, and the first season is like a 5 out of 5. But this one just takes everything I liked about the first one, and just makes it better. Like Madani, as I said, is a lot better in this season. Karen, I think is good. She's only in one episode, so I'll just get her out of the way here. Agent Mahoney, or Detective whatever, Mahoney from Daredevil is in this season. He might have been in season 1, but he's a lot bigger part in this season. And it's cool seeing him. Punisher uses the skull a little bit more in this season. It's not like he uses it a bunch, but he uses it more. Billy in this season, I think, is really good. I like Billy in the season, the Jigsaw stuff, and I like how it's a psychological thing with him. The only thing is, like, I can agree with some people is that, like, the Jigsaw face, like, it's supposed to be messed up and, like, gnawed to heck, and it's not. They went for, like, a more realistic thing and everything, but when it's, like, saying how his face is all messed up and he hates it and everything, and then it is just the dude who plays him with, like, a couple scars, like, I can agree with some people. For season 1, I forgot to mention that the whole army dude who throughout the season has like this arc of kind of going off the rails, and then when in his last couple episodes he turns into a terrorist. I didn't like that guy at all, and that does keep season 1 down a little bit as well. But back to the point. Season 2. The therapist that dates Jigsaw is annoying. I really did not like her. Like, there was moments throughout the show where I was like, this character could be interesting, and like the actress isn't the worst, but like the character as a whole, I'm just like, I hate her. And the scene in the second to last episode when her and Madani are fighting, and like this whole season you've been building up that the therapist does not like windows because of something that happened when she was a kid, and just how annoying she was when she gets thrown out of that window. I kind of laugh just because, like, I'm like, I hate her. Curtis in this season, I would say, is probably a bit worse than in the first season. I can understand why he kind of gets done with Frank a little bit, but at the same time, just the way it was handled, and like Curtis is like, oh, I'm gonna, like, in the last like episode, he's like, I'm done with Frank and I'm just gonna get rid of this guy and give him over to the police, help save him and everything. Like, I get what they're going for, but it could have been done a little bit better. I just didn't like how he turned and everything, and it's like, it's your military friend, and you're just like, okay, whatever. I didn't really care for that. Not to say like his character was bad. I just think that in that last little bit, it was probably the worst. I'll say Frank's awesome. I think that what they do with him in the season is great, and to that, my favorite part of the season and what elevates it a bunch above everything else is probably the father-daughter dynamic between Frank Castle and Amy Bendix, who is played by Georgia Wiggum. But I think that they're like the best part of the show, and they kind of like elevate season 2 above season 1. Is that I just like their father-daughter dynamic, and how from the first episode Frank sees she's in trouble and like just goes out of his way to help her, and then like the way they develop that over the season, and then her starting off like not wanting to punish her there and kind of trying to escape from him, and to the point where at the end of the show she doesn't want to leave him, and she like kind of looks up to him as a father, and he looks at her like a daughter, and I really like that, and she like quickly became one of my favorite characters in the show just because of her dynamic, and just like the character itself was interesting to the point where I really hope that if we get like a movie or a series or something, she returns, because it would be cool to see her return. I know there's a like girl Punisher in the comics, and I know it's not Amy Bendix, but it would be kind of cool if like she became like the girl Punisher sometime. I don't know. But I do like her and her side of the story, but the bad guy who like is chasing her the whole season, Pilgrim, I really don't like him, and the character can be written like interestingly at times, other times not. But the biggest problem is the actor. I just did not like the actor at all. I just did not like the way he played the character or the way he acted or anything. Like I did not like the actor. But like other than that, like it, it's fine. Like he kind of brings that part of the season down, but like the rest of the season is really good. That it like elevates the season from being crap. But like every time he's on screen, it's like, please get off my TV. Please, I really don't want to see you on here. But what are you gonna do? Corbin Burson is in this, and I obviously know him from Psych, but he's in this as a villain a little bit, and I liked him. And his final scene, dude, where Punisher and Amy break into his house, and Punisher blows his wife's brains out in front of him, and then gives him a gun, and is like, "You have a choice. You either take that gun and you do what you need to do, or we'll release the information on your son." And you don't see it. He's just crying with some of his wife's blood like on his face, and then you see Punisher and Amy walking out, and you just hear a gunshot, and it's just like, okay. But I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I want to say. Like, it's got some of my favorite episodes, like ever, probably. Like episode 3, which is the one where they're locked in a police station, and then it's kind of like a stranger comes to town almost with Frank, and he ends up like going into the woods and taking all these people out. Like, I love that episode. It is awesome. And then I think that the episode where Karen shows up in the hospital, I think that one's really good, and kind of what that does with Frank, where he thinks he killed innocent people, so he's kind of like messed up and like, I'm not gonna do it anymore, I'll just let them get to me. And then when he ends up finding out he didn't do it, and then like everything from then on is like really good. I think that was episode 11. It might be episode 10, but so that means the 3 episodes after, the 2 episodes after are like really full throttle, and like that doesn't mean the rest of the season isn't, because the rest of the season is really good too. But like as a whole, like I love this season. I think that I could say that it's probably better than Daredevil season 1, and then possibly Born Again season 1. I would say season 1 of Punisher is probably just worse than the Daredevil seasons, but that's because it's my favorite show. But like Punisher season 2, I don't know exactly if I would, but I could definitely make the argument for it being better than those 2 seasons, and that's just how good it is. But I know that's a bit of a hot take, because I think most people don't like season 2 more than season 1, but that's what I think. Tell me your ranking of all these things, or just the ones you've seen, in the comments. And I think that will be it for my Punisher One Less Kill videos. There's a chance that I'll do one with the 4 actors, but probably not. The more I think about it, I'm just like, I don't know if that's something I want to do right now. Maybe someday. Yeah. Sorry about that little cut in between season 1, but I just got distracted by something. But yeah. I will see you for whatever is next, and yeah, just tell me your ranking or just your thoughts on everything that you've seen from this, and I will see you soon. So, see you then.